What up, everyone? Back for another video. Got some nerdy news. So we're going to talk about some cool shit, things that have happened recently, things to look forward to that are coming up. And as always, I split it into two categories, the media and the collectibles. So feel free to tune into one and tune out to other. Whatever you find that interests you is cool with me. So, as always, we're going to start out with the media. Not a lot to talk about in the media. There's a lot of cool things coming up, but all things I've talked about before. We're constantly getting reminders of movies and things coming up. So the fall is going to be really good. We're going to have a lot of cool movies coming out, but mostly things I've talked about. But what's new is the What If series. The first episode landed last week, and the second episode will probably be out by the time this video is posted. So let's talk about that. My overall opinion is, I like it. I actually like this one, and I can't say that for the other shows. I thought the other shows kind of sucked. They weren't horrible, they were just so long, and they were so boring, and it was so drawn out, and you had to watch the whole series to understand the story, and even then, there were so many loose ends at the end of it, and I hate that. Like, it's fine to leave on a cliffhanger every once in a while, but not every fucking episode, man. Like, every episode had to be a cliffhanger. It's so annoying. I could not stand it. This I like because it's actual stories. Each one is its own story with its own characters, with its own beginning and resolution. Now, keep in mind, they are all connected. It becomes part of one big story, but they're small individual stories, and I like that. I'm surprised they're so short considering how much they're putting in there. I'm surprised they didn't want to make them longer, but you know, that's fine too. But I like that it's its own story. You're not constantly left like hanging and wanting more and feeling unresolved all the time. I really don't like that. So overall, I like the show, and I like the animation. I'm kind of half and half on, so the look of it does look better. I said in a previous video that the trailers, the animation did not look good at all. It looked very poor in quality, and I was hoping the final product would be much more polished, and it is. The final product is much more clean, much more polished, much more like high definition and everything like that. So the art style of it, I actually don't mind too much. I think it looks pretty professionally done, and I do like that aspect of it. I'm still bummed that they didn't do their original idea with different animation styles every episode, but now I get why. Now that we know it's a continuing story, it wouldn't make too much sense to have different animation styles when they all kind of meet at the end, so I get why they didn't do that. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. One thing I don't like about it is, again, I'll say the animation. And what I mean by that, I don't mean the style, I mean the movement. That's what the term animation means. It's a motion type of thing, how it moves. And in this show, I'm not a fan of it at all. It's very robotic. Everything's very stiff, very straightened, like very little movement. And I'm not a fan of that. It reminds me of, if you ever watched the show Archer, love that show, by the way, no complaints about it, but when you watch that animation style, it's very cheaply done. There's very little movement. Whenever you see someone talking, it's usually just their lips moving, and then every once in a while they'll do an eyebrow raise or a wink or something like that, but as far as the head and the face, it's just exactly the same. You just see these little things moving here and there, and it's also very robotic. Like, they'll move one thing, stay there, say some words, move, stay there, say some words, and I kind of got that same vibe from What If. And I don't know if it could be an issue with budget. They could not, maybe it's just they didn't have enough budget. Maybe that's why the episodes are cheaper, because I'm sure it was crazy expensive to get all these actors to do voices. So it could be a budget issue, and shorter episodes and less movement could be why, but I'm just saying I'm not a fan of it. I wish it was more like the old school hand-drawn animation, like original Disney stuff. If you ever watch documentaries about that, they go really into detail about the movement and things and how they look natural and everything's flowing. Everything on screen is kind of moving at once and there's just so much going on. And these ones, not so much the case. It's very, very sharp movements, very still, very little. Obviously, there were action scenes where it was a little bit better, but a lot of scenes where there wasn't a lot of action was just very still and very robotic. So that's one thing I didn't like about it. Kind of nitpicky, but not a big deal. Overall, again, only watch the first episode, but the next one should be cool too. And I'm excited to see these characters again with these voice actors and different versions of them. So far, I really like it. This is, in my opinion, the best show so far because, again, pointing back to those other ones, the acting was so terrible, the writing was bad, there's so many bad things about it. It looks so cheap. This one is still cheap, but it looks much more polished. It looks much more professional. It doesn't show the cheapness as much as those other ones did. So that's my overall opinion of that. And then the only other thing in the media that came out was there was another trailer for the second Venom movie, Let There Be Carnage. And my opinions on that is very mundane, honestly. I'm a huge fan of Venom. He's one of my favorite characters, and Carnage, really cool characters. I'm so happy they're doing the movie. Don't get me wrong, I'm very excited that the movie's coming, but it just looks okay. The CG on it looks pretty bad. Not I shouldn't say bad, but just not great. It doesn't look realistic. Especially that scenes with Carnage, when you see him just himself, this is the theory I always have. That CG always looks good until it's side by side with something realistic. That's when it shows that it's bad. And the scenes with Carnage, it's usually just him there, and it looks fine. But there's tiny little bits where you see them next to a real person, it's like, it just doesn't look good at all. And the first one was kind of the same way. It had some good parts. They did really good CGI, but there was parts where it was like humans were in there, and it looked very fake. And I have a feeling it's going to be the same way. CG, it's so hard to get it to look realistic, especially a character like that. So I get why it doesn't look that realistic, but it still bothers me. I hate that it does, but I can't help it. I can't help but notice when you're looking at it that it looks like bad CG. But other than that, the movie still looks legit. I'm happy that they're going to put Shriek in there. She seems like a cool character. And then Carnage, and I'm sure they'll have another symbiote make an appearance or something like that. So I'm sure the movie will be decent, just like the first one. It wasn't great. It was just okay, but I still liked it. It'll probably be the same thing. It won't get really exciting until they cross over with Spider-Man, if that ever does happen, if the series doesn't die off before then. So that's when I'll be really excited, and especially if Marvel has their hands in it. That'll be really cool. And this one, it's there. I'm happy it's there. It'll hold us over till that crossover, but it's just going to be so-so. So that's really all I had to talk about in the media. And the collectibles, I have a lot more to say, a lot more to talk about, because this was a very monumental month for collectibles. So let's start talking about that. First, I want to talk about some new things that are happening. Macfarlane has announced the new Toy Store. It has already launched. They had their official launch day, MacfarlaneToysStore.com, and that's going to be the place to buy all the Macfarlane stuff, which is cool. Good idea, because it's kind of hard to hunt it down otherwise. But, I was, again, kind of a letdown when that site went up. I totally woke up early and got on there at one of the first ones, because everything else that's been happening, you have to be there in the first 5 seconds or things sell out. Not the case here. I kind of looked through the site, and it was very mundane, and just like most of the Macfarlane stuff lately, it's just been kind of a letdown. It's been very lackluster, like most of the things that have been happening, which is such a bummer, because Macfarlane was always known for quality, and it seems like that quality has kind of died down. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Macfarlane fan, huge Spawn fan, always been my favorite character, always will be, but the figures they've been putting out, they just don't look that great. They're not bad, they just could use so much more quality. They're lacking in paint for the most part, and it just makes them look cheap. And the same with this website. It just, I wanted to go on there because I wanted that special edition comic, but that's not going anywhere. And that's my advice that I want to give to everyone. So if you're out there and you're collecting Macfarlane stuff, hoping that it'll increase in value and hoping that it'll become very collectible or hoping to resell it, don't. Don't do that with Macfarlane stuff, because it will not anytime soon. That stuff is not going to increase in value for years and years down the line. So, and that's what I realized going to this site. I was going to get one of those comics, but I realized it wasn't worth spending $50 for or $200 for, because they're probably going to print millions of them, and it wasn't a one-day sale. That same sale is still going on to this day, weeks later, and I have a feeling that those comics are going to be pretty much worthless, so it'd be easier to just buy one off eBay, because people are stupid, and they're going to get that comic thinking it's worth a lot of money, put it up for auction, it's going to go for practically nothing. So I'm probably just going to buy one that way, because I still do want the comic, but most of the figures are just very average. They only had like 1 or 2 exclusive things, and one of which was the DC pack, which again is so weird that Macfarlane's doing all this DC stuff. Like, do Spawn stuff. What are you doing? So I didn't want to buy the 4-pack of DC. It was like $150, and the characters didn't look that great, so it just ended up not being worth it. And it just, this constant thing of having my hopes set so high because of how high they used to be for old stuff, and then just being let down. Every time they release a new figure line, it's just not as good as the old stuff. It really isn't. And I'll get some of those figures and I'll do an in-depth review and I'll show you the actual comparison and show you the difference, but such a bummer and disappointment there. So again, my advice, do not invest in Macfarlane Toys. If you want to buy them because you like them, you just like the characters, you don't care about the value, you're going to take them out of the box, you're going to play with them, cool. Go for that. don't worry about it. You're good there. But if you're looking to gain some money or hold on to them for a long time and have them increase in value, not a safe bet. Absolutely not. Perfect example, the older Macfarlane figures that were amazing in quality are barely increased in value. They've barely increased in value over 20 years. Some of them 25 years, quarter of a century ago, and they're just barely gaining some value. And that's a lot of the rare ones too, that were really, really cool figures. They're just now gaining some value that far down the line. And a lot of the other figures you can still buy at the price they were selling 25 years ago. So that's just my point. They just rarely increase in value. And the reason is Macfarlane makes so many. They're not like Funko where they do a very limited release and then when they sell out they're gone and then that's what increases them in value. Macfarlane is not like that at all. They do not do limited runs. They will pump out as many as they can. I guarantee you Target and things like that is going to be flooded with these figures. You're going to have no problem picking them up in store with the exception of like probably the Target exclusive may be a little bit hard to find. That may have some value, but all the regular ones, all the pre-orders have sold out everywhere. Don't worry about it. You're going to have plenty of chances to get them. I highly doubt that's going to be the last chance you get. Again, you'll have plenty of opportunities to get them. Don't think you're going to sell them for a high value. I just don't see that happening. So I feel bad for those people that are getting in on the pre-orders hoping to make money because I just highly doubt that's going to happen. So it's very unfortunate and it's definitely a bummer, but it is what it is. All right, moving on. So we've had a lot of convention stuff. We had Comic-Con, which essentially was all the separate companies doing their own Comic-Con thing on their website. And Funko did 2 or 3 different things. They did their Funkon, which was the Comic-Con exclusives. They did the Funko Fundays, and they did their NFT release. So those were the 3 things that we'll talk about. First one, Funko Fundays. I went to one many, many years ago, almost 10 years ago, one of the first ones, and I've talked about one of the figures I have from that is in the top 10 most valuable figures of all time. So I was really excited. I got picked in the raffle, and I got the opportunity to buy the box. And it was really cool. I was pretty excited about it. You got to pick your own character, and I was lucky enough to get the one I wanted, which was the Fanatic Fury. And this was actually the rarest and most popular one, so I'm glad I got it. And then everyone got the little Torchy, which is a cool little character, and then everyone got the creators. Not many people care about those last 2, mostly care about the mascot, and then they had a separate box with 3 figures that we'll talk about. First of all, the quality on these figures is very low. Normally, it's merited because they really pump these figures out really quickly. It's very hard for them to make these figures, get the orders in, and get them shipped out to people, so it's very often the quality of these is very, very low. The paint's all over the place. And that's usually okay because there's such a short window. But I'm pretty sure these rolled over from last year, so there really is no excuse. They had a full year to kind of fix some things up and didn't. Like, for example, this guy, he totally came broken. He has a crown that comes off the top. It was snapped off, and not in a way where it was just like a piece that came off. It literally snapped the vinyl, so I had to get in there and actually fix it myself. So I was kind of bummed about that. And Torchy just had like paint issues. There's like a lot of issues on that. A lot of the figures came damaged to people because they didn't put any padding in their boxes, so it was no surprise that a lot of them came kind of messed up. So it is what it is. Funko often does that with these kinds of exclusives. It's just kind of something you have to deal with. But luckily, it wasn't too expensive for the whole box. The whole setup was $100 for the 3 I showed you, 3 more. You also got like a pin and a handkerchief. A pretty good deal, even if they are a little bit damaged. But I was happy to get those, and they are going for a decent amount, or at least the Fury is. The other one's not that hard to come by, and those other 2 figures, not very valuable, not much there. But what everyone's mostly going for are these additional Freddy Funko figures. These are the ones that have value, and I think that's what most people were worried about when getting the box of fun. They only cared about these 3. Most people sold off their other ones because they didn't really care. And you got a kind of a toss-up, same thing they've always done. They have a few different Freddy Funkos, and you get a pick of a random 3 that you get sent a box of, which is cool. And I got these ones. We'll go through them. We got Bronze Medal Freddy, 1 of 3,000. Then we got Ping Pong Freddy, 1 of 1,000. And then we got Olympiad Freddy, 1 of 2,000. So I got a good mix, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So a good mix of value and variety. But I was a little bit bummed because normally when they do the Freddy Funkos, it's always the Freddy Funko as a character, just like the Jack Skellington Freddy Funko I have. And they had some like that, a few of them, but I just happened not to get one, which is kind of a bummer. I like those versions, but these are fine too. These are still very collectible, and they hold some pretty decent value as well. So there was a few different varieties. I think, I don't know, like 10 or 15 in total. Not a ton, but they all hold pretty significant value. So I'm very excited that I had the chance to get that box. It was really, really cool because I haven't been able to participate in it since the last time I went. So hopefully I get another chance, but probably not, because it's pretty rare that stuff like that happens. So I just wanted to share what I got and share my experience there. So definitely overall, it was really cool, and I was really excited for that. And luckily, these Freddy Funkos didn't show up super damaged because they came in their own little specialty box, which is cool. They always put a nice little box, something different every year. I like those little touches. It makes it nice. All right, so now let's go on to the Funkon. This one I did not get selected for, so which was okay. If I had to pick one, I'd much rather have the Fundays box than any of the exclusives. But so I didn't get selected for that, but I was able to pick up 2 of them when they released them to the public. I got Smaxy the Seal and the Rocketeer. Those are pretty much the only ones I cared about, and pretty much the only ones left too. I was going to get the Captain America one, but it sold out like instantly. I think that was a really popular one. People are going for it. It'll probably have significant value, but you know, it was very lackluster on that as well, because the bummer is they don't guarantee you any Comic-Con stickers. So last year I did the same thing, purchased them online, and I got selected in the raffle and purchased them at the appropriate time. It still got the shared exclusive sticker, which is kind of a bummer, and ends up being more expensive because you have to pay for shipping when you buy it from Funko. I was better off just buying a lot of them in the store. I would have saved money that way. So it's a little bit of a bummer that you don't even get the opportunity to get those stickers, and getting into Comic-Con is so hard, and even if you do, there's still no guarantee. So it's tough. It's kind of a tough situation that we're in, that we don't even get that opportunity. So I thought I'd try. With some of the cheaper ones, might as well try. Maybe I'll get lucky, but happened not to. No big deal. But there's a lot of shared exclusives out there, but the Funko Shop one sold out instantly. Like I said, I was in there within seconds, and there was only like 3 or 4 left that they had. And a lot of the other shops, they had the shared sticker, so it's like, meh. So anyway, not a great experience with that whole thing, but it is what it is. Hopefully when we go back to conventions, there will be more opportunities, but, you know, whatever. Next, Funko had announced and released their NFT series, which pissed a lot of people off. A lot of people didn't really like, a lot of people don't like NFTs, but not even that, but the fact that they had released a line of Ninja Turtle pop figures, which I've been collecting. I collect all those Ninja Turtle ones, big Ninja Turtle fan, and they released these figures, and the only way to get them is through these dumb fucking NFTs. Like, I don't mind them. If you're into them, go for it, but don't make the people that want to collect raw things have to cross over with NFTs to get it, and you're not even guaranteed to do it that way. It's just like, I get what they're doing. They're trying to merge the two worlds and get them involved and get one thing popular and make money. Like, I get it, but it's just super annoying because the pop figures look really cool, and they are going to be worth a fortune, an absolute fortune. I was online on the site within 10 seconds, got in line, and it told me I was number 50,000 in line. And I think they only had like 10,000. So sold out within seconds. And even the NFTs that aren't even the pop figures are going for crazy amounts online. So when they do finally release those pop figures, they're going to be of the most expensive ones in existence. They're going to go for crazy amounts of money, which sucks. It sucks that now I can't complete a turtle set now because of those ones I'll never own, never have enough money to purchase, even if I wanted to, which I don't want to spend that much. So it's definitely a bummer there. I'm kind of pissed off that they did it that way. There's so many other options of things they could have done. First of all, they could have released more in the series and make sure you had the opportunity to get one. I don't care if I have to buy NFTs to get that, but at least give me the opportunity. So it was super shitty. But, you know, if that's what they want to do to get people involved in it, fine. And I'm probably going to do a separate video on NFTs if people are interested in it. Just talking about it, where I think it's going to go, if it's worth investing in, other things like that. So if you have an interest in that, let me know and we can talk about it there. Other than that, not much to say. A lot of people are going into the NFT business, which is fine. I don't mind that. I'm not a personal fan. And I don't think most people of this generation are. I think it's a generational thing. I think the next generation will be brought up with it, and it'll be a big thing there. Obviously, I like physical things, and a lot of people that watch my channel feel the exact same way. But, you know, feel free to express your opinion. If you're totally into NFTs, let me know in the comments. Love to hear about it. Other than that, some more cool things, just some individual things that I thought were cool, and we'll talk about. First of all, there have been some Power Rangers figures that have been crossing over with Ninja Turtles. They've done crossovers before. I'm pretty sure the reason is that Turtles and Power Rangers are both IDW, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're both under the same comic house. That's why they're doing the crossover, and they've done plenty of crossovers before. I love crossovers. I think it's cool. I'm hoping they do more than just figures in a comic. I'm hoping they do like a movie like they did with Batman Ninja Turtles. That would be cool. I'd watch that. But it was just something interesting to note in there. I don't think these are going to be incredibly valuable or anything like that, but I just like crossovers. And they're doing physical crossovers where the Ninja Turtles are actual Power Rangers, and I think that's kind of cool. Just something worth noting. And then we got some 6-scale figures. We got some Hot Toys, 2 different ones actually. The first one is Zombie Hunter Spider-Man, which I think is such a badass title, by the way. It's just Spider-Man with the Doctor Strange cape, but what a badass name, Zombie Hunter Spider-Man. That's going to be from the What If series, from the Zombie episode, which I'm so excited for. I never thought we'd see Marvel Zombies in the MCU, but we're going to. That's going to be super cool. And that figure looks pretty amazing. They did a very good job on it. The next one from Hot Toys is actually Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian, and this one looks badass too. And it comes with this additional droid that's like being crushed. It's like all broken to pieces, and him like doing the death squeeze. So that looks really awesome too. I'm not super into Star Wars collectibles, but that looks really cool because that everyone can admit, like if you're a Star Wars fan or not, that last scene from The Mandalorian second season was super badass. Like it was so cool to see Luke Skywalker. So this figure looks particularly cool as well. And Hot Toys has been getting better and better over the years. They're doing some really awesome stuff. So check that out if you're a fan. All right, next, Iron Studios is releasing some small, cheap-ish figures, and they're called Minico. And I think that's a good direction to go. And if they could get the price down just a tiny bit, I think these would be very collectible. So their ad says, starting at $34.99, which is a fucking lie. I looked at all the prices, none of them are $34.99. They're the cheapest ones, $40, and they go up from there, which is like just on the cusp of like too expensive. If they could get the prices on all these down to $34.99, I think I'd actually collect this series. They look decent. They've only released these X-Men ones. Some of them look a little wonky, but some of them actually look really stylized and cool. They got Gambit in there, and yeah, a lot of these figures look really cool, and it looks nice as a little set like that, which I think is a good strategy for companies like Iron Studios to do. It's not really high-end collectibles, but it's not cheap-end collectibles. It's like, I don't even know what the word would be. It's like a high-end vinyl figure because it's a little statue, but I don't know. It's just like a step up from just like cheap Funko stuff. You're spending a little bit more for a little bit more quality, and I think that's a good idea because a lot of people can't afford these crazy Iron Studio statues like I have, these $2,000 Sentinel ones, but they don't want to go super cheap like the Funko stuff. So this is kind of like a good middle ground. Things you could collect individual figures for that have nice quality, that aren't too expensive, but have some good quality because a lot of them are actual resin statues. So I thought that was an interesting route they're going to go. We'll see if this picks up. If they do, I'm sure the designs will get better and better over time. I just really wish they could bring the price point down even like $5 or $10. Then I'd be fully on board, but if each one's 40 and 45 and 50, I might pass on it. So if they could adjust that a little bit, that'd be great. Next, we got a Sideshow statue, and this one is of Carnage, and this looks badass. They've done tons of Venom, Carnage, Spider-Man statues, and they all look cool, but none of them look amazing. This one looks amazing. I have the original Sideshow ones from Ariel Olivetti, the really hard series to find of Venom, Carnage, and Spider-Man. Love it. Those are the best ones I've seen to date, but this one might be a solid contender because this one looks really cool. I don't know if this is part of a series. It could be. Maybe they're doing another trio set. I hope they do, because then I might be fully invested and have to get that. But this Carnage is pretty amazing. And it's $630, which is, it's reasonable considering the size. Things are just getting more expensive. Back in the day, these statues were all like $300, and now they're $5 and $6. Like, it's understandable because it's a pretty decent size. But if you're a Carnage fan and don't have a statue, this is the one to get. This one looks really cool. What else? Oh, one last thing that they only showed a preview for, and this is by PCS. They have a Last Ronin statue. Now, it's not just of the Last Ronin, it's of all the turtles, but the Last Ronin, Michelangelo, is in front, and the other three turtles are like spirits in the back. And this looks really cool. I'll have to take a second look. I'm sure by the time the video's posted, they've posted more pictures, but right now we just have the preview, and the preview picture looks amazing, like really cool, but I want to see it in like regular light when they post more pictures and see if it actually holds up and looks as cool as they mention it. And who knows how expensive this is. This could be in the thousands. We have no idea the exact size, but if it's reasonably priced, I may get something like this because I haven't bought turtle statues in a long time. I got, again, the original Ninja Turtles Sideshow from back in the day. Those are really cool, but this just looks absolutely amazing. And The Last Ronin is like the most popular comic story from Ninja Turtles ever, so that's something really cool. I really want to check this out. I'm hoping it's not crazy expensive when they announce the price, but, you know, we'll see. But yeah, those are things I thought were cool. Not a ton to talk about, but things worth mentioning. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Doesn't matter. I still want to hear your opinions. Thank you to all the people that do weigh in. Honestly, most people do disagree with me, and that's okay. You don't have to agree. It's about getting discussion. I want to hear what you think, and you hear what I think, and we go back and forth, and maybe you'll change my opinion, maybe I'll change yours. Who knows? Doesn't matter. It's just fun to express our opinions and talk about it that way. So let me hear your thoughts and what you'd like to see, some videos you'd like to see. Do you want to see one on NFTs? Do you want to see some on some other stuff? There will be kind of a lull here. There will be some time in between the next movie and the next monthly boxes, so there are going to be some filler videos of just random stuff that I come up with, maybe some more nerdy news ones. We'll see. Other than that, thank you all for watching and supporting. See you on the next video. Thank you for watching and supporting. Love you all. Peace.